Fired up and inspired for this Monday morning. I hope you're fired up and inspired. I hope you know you got this. I hope you know you can make this happen. I hope you know, right, that you got to just keep going. You got to keep pushing. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have people that don't believe in you. You're going to have a lot of this stuff along this journey to get to the life you don't need a break from, to get to that life that you envision, that total financial freedom, time freedom, having life exactly where you want it, great relationships, health in the right place. To get to that life, you got to keep going. It's going to come with a lot of bumps in the road, and most people give up. Most people stop. Most people say, "Hey, let's settle in here. That was too hard." We give it a fight, right? We try it one time, we try it two times, and then all of a sudden we're like, that was a lot. I think I'll just settle in here. I don't want to keep climbing. Not us, right? Not you. If you're gonna keep having this vision of the life that you want, you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going, right? Things are gonna be really tough for you, but you gotta keep going. It's all gonna be worth it. I wrote down, has your faith been tested? Have you been testing your faith? That's what this journey will do. My wife and I were talking to a group of women business owners and just women leaders. It was last month or earlier this month, I can't remember. And that was one of the things that I don't know why we made that joke. Oh, I remember the lady that was catering it was talking about her faith, right? And she's had her catering business for like 10 years or 11 years or something. And I went up right behind her, me and my wife, and we had mentioned the exact same thing. And we said that entrepreneurship is the greatest spiritual journey. If you haven't had faith before, become an entrepreneur and it'll absolutely build your faith. It'll absolutely test your faith. It absolutely test what you cannot see. That's the journey to get to the life that we want. It's actually testing our faith, testing what you can't see, testing what's just up here that you know, but you might not see it on the physical plane. You only see it in the mental. That gets tested the longer that you go on this journey. But you got to know that that is going to empower you. You got to take away negativity. We know these things, ladies and gentlemen. I know we know them, but are we doing what we know? Are we intentional about doing what we know every single day? You know that you can't live a positive life with a negative mind. You know that. You know you can't allow a bunch of negativity in and expect positive results. Like you know these things, but are we guarding our mind? Are we standing guard at the door of our mind? Are we allowing negativity in? Are we catching our thoughts? Are we taking all thoughts into captivity? When we have the negative thought, when we have the doubt, the fear, the worry, right? That side, when we have that, how quickly do we get out of it? How quickly do we have self-talk that says the opposite? That says, no, we're more than conquerors, right? Whatever your self-talk is, how quickly are you allowing that to happen? Because this is how, again, you train your brain. Remember, y'all, the thesis here, if you change your thinking, you change your life. If you change what's up here, your life is going to change. So there's probably some areas that you have some stinking thinking that we just need to change. We need to shift. We need to get a new perspective. We need to like think about that thing differently so we can get a different outcome. So negativity, pay attention to it. It's all around us. The world is negative. The media is negative. Social media is negative. People like negative attention. Like there's a lot of it. But that's not going to help you get to the life you don't need a break from. You got to stay positive. You got to put positive things in. You got to have positive self-talk. You got to have things that you constantly say to yourself, even if that's not how you feel. The positivity is going to create a good life for you and the way that you're thinking about things. I wrote, speak better to yourself. Speak better to yourself. We all have that critical side of us. We all have it. If you don't, right? Like, God bless you. But we all have this critical side where we judge ourselves. We have some shame around some things, some guilt around some things, some limiting beliefs around some things, just how we've talked to ourselves. So we got to speak to ourselves better. We got to be intentional about this. That seems like the word I keep saying to y'all. I said it at the very beginning. I keep telling y'all, you got to be intentional about this if you're going to go off and design your ideal life. If you're just happy with the life you have, you don't have to be intentional about anything. If you're happy with your health, you don't have to be intentional about what you eat. You don't have to be intentional about moving your body. If you're happy with it, like live life. But if there's some areas you're not, you're not happy with, you know that there's more, well, then you have to be intentional about changing. You have to be intentional about certain things. You got to speak better to yourself. You got to harness your will. That's what Les Brown was saying in there. You got to harness your will. This is not a matter, life is not a matter of just skill. Life is a matter of will, of will. Like, how much do you actually want this? You know, I sit down with people all the time and we talk about the things they want, and I can see it in their actions if they really want it. If they really want something, they do it. I saw a little clip on TikTok with Tom Brady outside with his daughter at night hitting the volleyball around, and the caption on that said like, finally, like somebody that likes to practice like I do or something like that. It's his daughter. She's intentional about playing volleyball. So it's whatever time at night and she's out hitting balls with her dad, right? What are you doing in your life in that same area, in those types of areas? It might not be volleyball for you, but where are you just up and making it happen, harnessing your will, just more willpower to do this. I'm gonna eat better. Are you? I'm gonna go to the gym. Are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how much will are you harnessing? You gotta harness your will to get to that life that you don't need a break from. Real growth comes when you're knocked down. Real growth, the most, you know, I don't know the words, right? But either way, right? Getting the most out of your growth is gonna come when you're at a low moment, when you're hitting adversity, when you're in the valley, right? When you don't really have all the things together. You just came out of the storm, you're in the middle of the storm, whatever it is, that's where real growth happens. It's in the seasons we don't like. We don't learn a lot when you're winning. You don't learn a lot when you're on the mountaintop. You learn a lot by climbing the mountain. You learn a lot by being in the valley and understanding, ooh, this part is still in me. I probably got to shift some things. I probably got to learn some things. I probably got to get better in some areas if I'm going to deal with these valleys. If I'm going to deal with these highs and lows, if I'm going to deal with this journey, I probably am going to need to get more equipped to handle it. I'm probably going to need to build the capacity to handle the life that I'm asking for. That's what we learn in the valleys. That's what we learn when we have some of the adversity. Those are the lessons that you got to take on as you continue to strive after the life that you don't need a break from. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, like I said at the beginning, you got to keep going. In our text, 177 mental toughness secrets of the world class says champions never say die. You just never quit. You're never going to give up. It's either we make it to the destination or we die trying. But we never say that we're going to give up. We never die. We're going to continue to go. And that has to be your mindset, ladies and gentlemen. That has to be your mindset around things. It has to be how you think about it. Because remember, if you change your thinking, you change your life. So maybe there's some areas of your life that you have said, I'm going to get rid of that. That's too hard. And right? We've let that die. But if you want to get to this life, again, I'm only talking to people that want to get to that level of life. You want to get to the life you don't need a break from, right? This goes out on YouTube or whatever the case is, and people don't care about this stuff. It's fine. I don't care that they don't care, right? But if you do care and you're like, I do want my life to change. I do want things to get better. I do want my health, wealth, love, happiness, all the things right where I want it. Well, guess what? We got to adapt similar mindsets. We got to adapt similar thinking. In our text, here's what it says. It says the middle class will persist until they become uncomfortable. The upper class will persist until it becomes painful. The world class never says die. Champions are comfortable being uncomfortable because they have grown so accustomed to risk that feelings of vulnerability almost seem natural. Champions don't even begin to pay attention until they feel pain, which they expect to feel on a regular basis. Champion cyclist Lance Armstrong says racing doesn't even get interesting until it becomes what he calls a sufferfest. Even the upper class cannot compete with the world class because while good performers have a deep desire to win, the great ones are committed to winning. The distinction between the two processes is substantial. Failure to manifest the vision is not an option. Champions will do it or die trying. The mantra they love to espouse is whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. The great ones are masters of self-denial, suffering, and sacrifice. They do it all to live their vision. If you're going up against the great ones, you better pack a lunch. It's going to be a long afternoon. We got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I know you've heard it. The question is, are you doing what you know? Right? I know you've heard that. I got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, but how uncomfortable are you on a daily basis? Your bed is super comfortable. So if you sleep in your bed, guess what? You're starting your day off comfortable. I know we all like to be comfortable in our bed, right? And under the covers or whatever it is. But then when we wake up, are we doing all the things that are comfortable? Or are we doing uncomfortable things? Most of us are doing comfortable things. If you go to a job, like you have a comfortable routine, like you know what time to wake up and you know what time, you know what route to take to get to work. You probably have similar parking spaces, right? Everything's a matter of comfort. You show up, you see the same people, you got similar tasks, you're having similar conversations, you're feeling the same emotions, you're going through the same motions every day, right? Like that's comfort. That's all that is. You might not like it, but it is comfortable. It is what you know. And then you leave work and then you take the same route home and then you have the same seven places for dinner or seven meals for dinner. And then, right, life is comfortable. So the goal is getting uncomfortable, learning how to get uncomfortable. Put yourself in uncomfortable positions in all the areas that you want to change. You got to live life this way. Life has to be constantly uncomfortable, that discomfort, that most people can't handle that. We want to just sink back into comfort. But I'm giving you guys the tools for if you want to go off and build your ideal life. You want to go off and build your ideal life. You want to get to this life you don't need a break from. You're going to have to get really uncomfortable for a really long time and live in that state and be okay with it. Be okay with the finances going up and down. Be okay with people always talk about, or we used to talk about, I haven't heard it actually in a while, the work-life balance, right? Work-life balance. And most of us entrepreneurs understand it's really not work-life balance. It's work-life harmony, right? Balance would suppose that like they're supposed to be even. Like I do family and life in the same ways I do work, right? There is no balance in life. Like there's no balance like kind of in that sense. It's harmony. There's sometimes I have to give more to family. There's sometimes I have to give more to business. There's sometimes I have to give more attention to my health or more attention to this relationship or more like it's just harmony. It's just how do you let it all flow? But that's living in the discomfort, the tensions, the being uncomfortable, y'all. Our society right now is soft. We really don't do this well. So if you want to go off and design your ideal life and get to the life you don't need a break from, you got to learn how to get uncomfortable, really, really uncomfortable on a day-to-day basis. Again, we know this, but are we doing what we know? This is just a reminder to do what you know. You got to continue to live by this whatever it takes mindset. Whatever it takes to get healthy, whatever it takes to build the business, whatever it takes to have the best marriage, whatever it takes to raise my kids, like whatever it takes. Yes, you're going to get tired. Yes, you're going to slow down sometimes, but we're never going to stop. We're champions never say die. It's never going to be over. I hope you know that about your journey, that it's not going to end. You're going to keep climbing this mountain. You're going to keep going. Why? Because you have a big vision. I hope you do, because that's where it all starts. Why would we go through any of this if we don't have a big vision? Why would we go through any of this if we don't have an idea of the life that we want to live? We're not going through any of this stuff. But because you have a big vision and because that vision God gave you and only you're the only one that can make this vision come to life. Now you have to become the person to be able to make that happen. It's not about the destination all the time, ladies and gentlemen. It's about who we must become in order to get to the destination. The person that you are today is not the person that makes $50 million a year. The person that you are today is not the person that's going to live to 102 years old because of your health habits. The person you are, right? Whatever the vision is, the person you are today is not going to be the person that impacts a million people for whatever your cause is, your vision is. It's you have to grow. You have to grow. And that's what this process is doing for all of us. It's getting us to become the highest, grandest expression of ourselves. Walter Payton here in this quote says, never die easy. Why run out of bounds and die easy? Make that linebacker pay. It carries into all facets of your life. It's okay to lose, to die, but don't die without trying, without giving it your best. We only get one shot at this thing called life, ladies and gentlemen. You got to give it your best. Don't make this thing easy. Don't arrive safely at death. Don't just, well, I made it to the end. No, we gotta max this thing out, as Ed Milet would always say. You never die easy. You continue to fight, continue to push. That's how you get to the life that you don't need to break from. The action step for today says, ask this critical thinking question. How committed am I to achieving my ultimate vision? How committed are you? I'm honestly like that's why it's a critical thinking question. Again, something our generation, our society struggles with these days is critical thinking. But this critical thinking question, how committed am I to achieving my ultimate vision? Like ultimately what you want, how committed are you to it? If you say it's a level 10 commitment, great. We should see that in your day-to-day actions. Anything you're level 10 committed to, this is the most important thing. I'm going to make this happen. We should see that in your day-to-day actions, where you spend time, where you put your energy, who you're around, the conversations you're having, what's on your mind, what like you should see it. Don't live in that state of delusion. Don't say I'm a level 10. And then if I followed you around for 3 days with a camera and watched all 72 hours of what you did, it didn't move you an inch towards your vision. It didn't move you an inch towards where you're trying to go. Then we can't say that we're level 10 committed. We got to say, hey, I'm level 4 committed. And that's okay. Be brutally honest with yourself, right? We talked about this a few weeks back. Being brutally honest with yourself helps you take responsibility for where you are and know what you need to do. That's all. So, how committed are you to achieving your ultimate vision? Are you really willing to do whatever it takes? If so, you're on the right track. If not, chances are you've settled for second best in your vision. It doesn't have sufficient emotional energy to motivate you through the tough times that will undoubtedly occur. If the latter is the case, do some soul searching and rewrite your vision. Odds are that you will need a world-class emotional energy to bring your dream into reality. It starts with your vision, ladies and gentlemen, and then you have to harness that will, like Les Brown said. You have to harness that will. You have to harness it and say, I want this. I want this life. This vision that I have, that I've written down, that I've plastered in my brain, that I've read morning, noon, and night, that is emotional to me, that can possibly make me cry. Those things, right? I'm committed to that. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure we get there. That's the mindset you got to have to go off and achieve that. And I know you can do it. I'm proud of y'all for sticking on the journey. I never said this was going to be easy. They never said this was going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. The more work you put in, the more energy you put into your personal growth and personal development, it will pay off. I love you guys. I want you to win. I want you to win in life. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. People are counting on you. People are counting on you to get this information and go do something with it and apply. Remember, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. You have to apply the things that you know in order to create the change. But you got to go out and make it happen, y'all. Do something today that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Do something today that makes you uncomfortable. Go have the conversation. Go eat the different meal. Go to the gym. Go do whatever it is that makes you a little bit more uncomfortable today. Follow that up tomorrow, and let's continue to do this, y'all. I love you guys. I'll see you back here on Wednesday. Take care.